Hey everybody, Mark from Rams Up here. I'm going to share with you my early reactions, probably premature reactions to the Rams 34 to 17 loss to the Chargers in their opening preseason game. Not a lot of fun to watch, but hey, this is what you kind of expect in the preseason. A little bit sloppy, but I still found some things to like and a few things to be worried about. The first thing I'm going to do is review the things that I posted the other night, the fearsome four things I wanted to see that I was looking for in this game. I actually came up with six. Let's run through them all. Let's run through all six of those real quick here, and then I'll tell you some other quick reactions, whose stock is up and whose stock is down player-wise. The first thing I was hoping to see in this game was pressure off the edge, and it all is dependent on who played. Well, Byron Young, Michael Hoyt, and Nick Hampton all played early. Not a lot of pressure generated. Byron Young did get what looked like a sack for a moment, but he was called for face masking. That was a good play by him, actually. Stuck to the play, got to the quarterback, but he had to reach out and grab his face mask to do so. But other than that, not a lot to be excited about. Later in the game, we saw Keir Thomas and Daniel Hardy and even Tanner Engel get to the quarterback. So overall, not real happy with the pressure Byron Young and Nick Hampton generated, but at least we got some later in the game. I wanted to see those three rookies on offense. This was my second thing I wanted to see. I wanted to see Stetson Bennett, Puka Nacua, and Zach Evans. And I was pretty pleased with what I saw, especially Puka Nacua. Made a couple big catches. Zach Evans showed a real good burst. Now, I'm not sure what happened. At one point, he took himself out. Later on, came back. He looked really good, though. I think he's an NFL caliber running back. I hope to see him get a lot more carries in the next two preseason games. And Stetson Bennett, I've heard, I think this was mentioned in the pregame, that he has struggled maybe making decisions and maybe getting a little confused at times. And I think we saw this, but when he got rid of the ball quickly, he was on. He was spot on. Just a lot of times he hung onto the ball a little bit too long and tried to use his legs, which is probably a mistake for a young quarterback at this point. Not going to work at the NFL level, Stetson. Just get rid of the ball, go through your progressions. And, of course, the offensive line he's working behind at times. Not really conducive to, playing your traditional McVay-style offense. But overall, very happy with Stetson Bennett. The third thing I wanted to see, I was really excited to see how these young safeties played. And really the only one that stood out was Tanner Engel. And, man, he made a couple of really big plays. Richard LeCount got his number called a couple of times, not in a good way, but not much to say about Rashad Torrance. He did try to make a play at the goal line. He really throws his body into plays. He may stick on this roster, but if there is one safety that I think stood out in this game, it's Tanner Engel. Number 4, I was worried about the defensive line and how they played against the run, and wow, not a good look. 6.9 yard average for the Chargers, over 200 yards rushing. That was not good. And we had, some good guys in there, some guys that are going to get some rotations on this defense. Laurel Murchison was in there a lot. Marquise Copeland, Kobe Turner, Jonah Williams. So that remains an area of concern, and we'll see what the Rams come up with. The fifth thing I wanted to see, I'm not overly concerned overall with the offensive line. I think we'll figure out how the pieces fit together, but I was interested in this guy, Logan Brass. How is this experiment at right tackle going to go? Is he a good player or is he not? And the report card is not going to be a pretty one. He really struggled. It was not a good performance by Logan Brass. Hopefully he gets squared away. They moved him to right tackle because it wasn't working at guard. I'm not sure it's going to work at right tackle either. And if he weren't a third round draft pick, I think he'd have a difficult time making this roster at this point. The sixth thing I wanted to see was this all rookie special teams unit. the long snapper, the kicker, and the punter. Man, Ethan Evans, he is the real deal. Potentially future Pro Bowl punter, dare I say. Tanner Brown was solid except for that 146-yard kick. And I'm glad they settled for the kicks in some of these situations because, again, fail early. If this guy's not going to work out, let's find out. And that was the only blemish. His kickoffs were good as well. But, man, I would have felt a lot better if he had hit that 46-yarder. So that bears watching. So whose stock is up? Kind of rehashing some of this, but in no particular order. Tyler Johnson, the wide receiver, led the Rams in receiving. I think he is ahead of Austin Trammell and Lance McCutcheon. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He has a good chance of making this roster. I think Alaric Jackson played well, starting at left tackle. Mike McAllister, if I'm not mistaken, he played almost the entire game at center. And I had mentioned now on the Rams depth chart, they had Brian Allen or Coleman Shelton and no one behind them. And I said, well, one of them's going to play then, right? Or is someone else going to slide over and play center in this game? And Mike McAllister was apparently voluntold. He's the center for this game. And I think he played played pretty well. And he certainly wasn't our worst offensive lineman, that's for dang sure. Puka Nacua, man, he looks like the real deal. I'm so glad the Rams made this pick, and so reminds me so much of Cooper Kupp in a lot of ways. He is going to be an impactful player for the Rams moving forward. And I thought the two Zachs played well. Zach Evans, he looked like a dynamic running back with a real pop, a real burst to his game. So I'm hoping he gets more carries next week. Zach Thomas, the offensive lineman, played well, and Andrew Whitworth pointed this out. He is going to be a good rotational backup. He's the guy that's out of San Diego State, and Carlsbad. He's going to stick on this team, I think, almost for sure. And then, of course, Stetson Bennett, we already talked about him. On the defense, Trey Tomlinson, he made some early plays early on, and I think he's going to be an important part of the secondary. They just need to, his size is still a concern, but they'll figure that out. And by the way, was this a TCU versus Georgia rehashing of the national championship again? Man, those guys kept on popping all over the place. Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver from TCU, Trey Tomlinson, the kick returner Davis from TCU, who scored the big touchdown. Warren McClendon and Stetson Bennett both got in on this game, and I'm probably missing some guys. Tanner Engel on defense. Tanner Engel. I shared some video the other night on my pregame of Tanner Engel, and if you watch that, you'll notice something. He is a force against the run, and he was in this game, and he also had the sack. And Keir Thomas, kind of split. On Keir Thomas, he got to the quarterback. He looks really big, looks a lot bigger than Byron Young to me. But then he also really folded on the edge on that one play, gave up the big touchdown run. But hey, anybody that gets to the quarterback at this point, their stock is up on this team because we need people to do that. And that's why Tanner Engel and Keir Thomas and Daniel Hardy are on here. Daniel Hardy had, I think it was half a sack, was it? And then Ethan Evans, the punter, man, he was booming it, and a couple of times popped it on the sideline, denying the Chargers the chance at a return. The long kick over Davis's head out of the end zone to deny a return there. So good day for Ethan Evans. Stock is down. Logan Brass, we're done talking about him tonight. Brett Ripien, Stetson Bennett's going to be the number 2 quarterback. Is Brett Ripien going to stick on this roster at all? Remains to be seen. I didn't see a whole lot I liked, but small, not a big data sample, so we'll keep an eye on him. And it bears watching. It bears what 3 players bear watching moving forward. On my hot seat a little bit, not giving up on them though. Byron Young, Nick Hampton, and Tanner Brown. Let's hope they perform better next week. Tanner Brown wasn't really that bad, just the missed 46-yard field goal. Man, I just wish he had made that. let's get through this preseason with 3 special teamers that we can count on. I feel pretty good about the first 2. The long snapper, Alex Ward, the punter, Ethan Evans, Tanner Brown. Please join the club. Make us Ram fans all feel a lot better moving forward. When we go into Seattle for that opener, let's have a kicker we can rely on. I'm going to come back Monday, hopefully Monday morning, have some more thoughts on this game. Have 24 hours of sleep on it, go through some notes, and look at some of the game over again. It's really hard to come away with concrete opinions on some of these performances and then get this out real quickly. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to also ping some other people for some opinions, and we'll come back with our next podcast with a more thorough grade on this Rams performance and how some of these guys did. That's it for now. We'll come back on the pod, like I say, in a couple days out here.